Hi guys, welcome back. Today I want to cover introduction to .NET and how to install that on different machines, different platforms. I have Linux running right now. The good thing about .NET Core is that we can run .NET on Linux, Mac or Windows. It's not restricted to Windows only, which is a nice change. I've been working on Java, Python and different languages previously, and also got to work on .NET in last few years, and I really like this change from Microsoft that now you can utilize different operating system as well, especially with .NET Core. So let's get started. I have a Linux machine running right now. So if you have Linux or Mac, instruction are going to remain same. Well, instruction are going to be different a little bit, but in general it's going to be a CLI based instruction. So since I'm on a Linux version, so I'll go to install on Linux. You can find out which Linux you are running on. And in order to do that, from terminal we can have cat etc release. It will tell I have Ubuntu running, that's 22.04 LTS. So I can simply go to Ubuntu and 22.04. You can run the same command. It's again cat etc release, and that will tell you which version you have, and accordingly you can choose which the install instruction for that particular version. I'll put that link in the description down in the video. So in order to install .NET, utilize this command to install .NET 8 on our Linux machine, Ubuntu 22.04 specifically. So that this is basically a combination of two commands, right? So first we do sudo apt get update. Let me clear that. Do sudo apt get update, and obviously it's going to update all the packages that we have on the system. And then once it is done with that, we're going to do sudo apt get install .NET SDK 8.0. So we run sudo apt get install y .NET SDK 8.0, and now you can see it's installing the different dependencies that require for .NET runtime, and it's almost already 60% or so is done. Once installed, we can install the runtime as well, utilizing the same command. Alright, so at this point we should have our .NET installed. In order to check, we can simply run .NET version, and you can see it says 8.0, so that means we have a .NET 8 installed and we are ready to write new application in .NET 8. There's another instruction saying that if you have an existing app that didn't have a .NET runtime mentioned, that we can also specifically install the runtime, but I don't think we need that right now. There is an instruction to install a .NET runtime like that. So now we are done with the installing .NET. So let's see where actually to install it in our system, right? So we can do where .NET. So you can see in the user bin .NET we have a new installation directory. Now let's jump into the next portion where we can let's look more example what we can do here, right? So if we do .NET help, or maybe .NET -h, yeah, maybe it's .NET -h. So when we do that, you can see all the commands, right? So all the commands, and then we can see there is a new command as well to create a new project. There is an add command to add like NuGet packages. Just like in Java we add new dependency under POM, we can add NuGet packages here. We can create new project, we can create a new test project. So let's quickly create a new project. So we do .NET new, and then we want to create a console project, so we'll say console, and let's see what happens. A template console app was created successfully. Under here I'm still trying to create all those scaffolding for us. Alright guys, so I've moved to a different machine now. This is more of my work machine. I just wanted to use the other Linux machine just to show how to install a .NET on a Ubuntu environment. This is my Mac machine. Again, I have .NET installed here, which obviously I can check using the .NET command. I have a terminal on the right hand side, so we can do .NET version. It says 8.0, so we have .NET installed. So if you have left if you are using Linux machine, nothing changes. We are just still going to use terminal and vscode eventually to write the .NET app. So let's move to the next step. I think we created a console app. Let me create the same app here on my Mac machine. So we do .NET new, and we say console, and maybe we can give a name. Maybe sample app. It's not a valid option. So let's see if we can do something after that. Let's see. So maybe -n name. So I'll, instead of doing sample app, let me do new console -n, and the name of the app is sample app. So you can see it created a project for me in sample app, and now I can simply open that project up. So the current directory is here. So we do cd sample app ls. We can see there is a program.cs. I can open that here in the terminal and see what's there. So it says, and there's just one line here, it says console.writeline hello.world, and then I can build that and then eventually can run that, right? So if I do .NET build, just like this, you can see it's trying to build, utilizing all of that. It says build succeeded. Now since we have a build ready for us, we can simply run the app, and I do .NET run, and you can see. So that sounds great, right? Now let's try to open the same app on VS Code, because that's what we are going to use to create our app. So I have a VS Code here, and then I can do open. That's not what I wanted. I want to, let me cancel that, try it again, open, and it says it's the directory is, let's see, where is that? So it's in sites user avdesh. So let's go to sample app, should be here. So right here, let's click on that. You can see there is a program.cs and everything. Let's just open this entire folder in VS Code. I'll trust the author, and this is how it looks like, right? So this is what we are running in the console. I can actually use the VS Code console right here, and we can run again, and we saw hello world. Let's just change that to something else, and we'll build it again. So we'll say .NET on Mac. Right, I'll save it. I can run that, and we'll see .NET on Mac. So now we have seen how to create a console app. Now let's take a step further and create a web API. So in order to do that, I'm again in the sample app folder. Let me go back one step, and we'll go again to the parent directory. Here we can do .NET new, and let's see what options we have, right? So we have .NET new, and then we do template short name and template argument. So for console app we did .NET new console. Let me do .NET new web API, and then name of the template. So my idea is to create an API that serves me all the videos uh, that that are stored in the database. So videos, uh, if I go to let's see, on the YouTube, right, on my channel I have like all these videos. So every video is essentially an object with the properties like there is a title of the video, there is a description of the video is visible to public or not, the date video has been published, things like that. So there are many properties every videos has. So I can create an object of that video, store that entire object into the database, and then we can perform CRUD operation down the road. All right, so let's create that video API project here using the command line. So I'll do .NET new web API, and let's see what options I have. So you can see there are a bunch of options that are given to me. Let me expand that. So we have, what we're going to use is the controllers, use controllers, and then there is a minimal API as well, and then we can use minimal API. .NET recently launched well, not recently, but it's pretty recent comparatively. With minimal API, we don't create controller layer, rather they are embedded inside program.cs. We are just going to go with the standard controllers. That way it's easier to understand. So we're going to use this flag, and we'll give an output directory where we want to output that. So we'll say .NET new web API, right, and then we'll say use controllers, and we'll say output that into a video API folder. So if I do that, it says it did a lot of things, right? It created a video API folder for us, created a project inside that, and I'm assuming a lot of other scaffolding stuff. So let's see what we have in there. So we'll do cd video API, and if we see, you can see there is a controller folder created for us because we have specified use controllers, and inside that we can put our controllers. There is a program.cs, which is essentially our startup file, and that's where we are going to configure our services and things like that. And then as the project grows, we can create our model folders, just like controllers. We can create our models, services, etc. So let's open that up in the vscode. So I'll go open folder. It's a video API this time, so let's open this guy up. All right, so let's see what we have in controllers. We have one controller already given to us. So this is again a scaffolding done by .NET CLI. We can see it created API controller, and there is a get endpoint already, which returns us enumerable of weather forecast object. And then weather forecast looks like that, right? This object has a date, temperature in Celsius, Fahrenheit, and summary. So, and let's try to run this, and we'll see what we'll see the output actually. So if I do, and one other thing I want to see here is the port where this is running. So there must be a launch config, launch settings.json. So we can see it is running on HTTP 5280 port locally, and then there is a HTTPS 7235. It's also running. So there's two port. For HTTPS is different, and for HTTP is 5280. And in program.cs, let's also go through that now. So you can see we are saying add controllers, which is essentially telling .NET to add these controllers. Add Swagger if it's a development environment. Just use HTTP for development, because ideally we want to just go to localhost and see our endpoints before deploying them. And it says use HTTPS redirection. What it essentially is saying that if you are going to HTTP, then it automatically redirect your URL to HTTPS, which we probably want in production scenarios. And then app.run is essentially which runs this entire thing. All right, so let's try to do .NET. Let's do build first. So we'll do .NET build. Okay, build succeeded. .NET run now. It's building. Now listening on HTTP localhost 5280. Let me click on that. Actually, it's running Swagger locally. Swagger index.html. All right, so this is our Swagger running locally. We can see we have one get endpoint, weather forecast. Let's try it out. If I execute that, just so you see response body, we are seeing 1 2 3 4 5 weather object with date, temperature in both Celsius and Fahrenheit, and if it's hot, bracing, mild. So there are different summary for different temperatures we have. So yeah, this is the get endpoint that we have in our controller. Let's go back to the code. So it is essentially hitting this endpoint, right, and serving the enumerable of weather forecast object. So that is scaffolding that has been given out of the box by .NET CLI. Going forward, we can add more controller, and instead of pulling directly, we can store the object into the database and retrieve it out of it.